The saddest part about healing is realizing some people only loved you when you needed them more than you needed yourself. And the moment you started choosing your peace, they started moving different. Because some people were comfortable with the version of you that consistently abandoned yourself just to keep them comfortable. Welcome to the quiet storm, where all you have to do is listen. Take a breath with me first. Inhale and exhale. Because tonight's message is going to touch something people feel deeply but rarely know how to explain. I think one of the hardest realizations in life is noticing how differently people treat you once they realize they can no longer control your emotions. Whew, that hit already. Because some people love being needed. Not loved, needed. They love being the person you run to, the person you depend on, the person whose approval affects your mood, the person who knows you'll always come back. But the moment you emotionally detach, the moment you stop chasing, the moment you stop explaining yourself, the moment you stop needing reassurance from them, their energy towards you changes. And that change, it hurts. Because now you start questioning everything. Was this connection ever genuine? Did they only value me when I was emotionally dependent on them? Why do they feel distant now that I'm healing? And I need somebody listening tonight to hear this clearly. Some people were attached to your dependence, not your freedom. Let that sit in your soul. Because healthy love celebrates your growth. Control struggles with it. And I think some of you have been grieving this silently, watching people slowly become colder towards you, not because you did something wrong, but because you stopped overextending yourself to keep them comfortable. Now you say no more. Now you notice manipulation more. Now you stop begging for bare minimum efforts. Now you stop over explaining your feelings to people committed to misunderstanding you. And suddenly, you're different. But listen carefully tonight. You're not difficult because you develop boundaries. You are not cold because you started protecting your peace. You are not selfish because you stopped abandoning yourself to maintain relationships. Now that's the soul punch. Because a lot of people don't realize constantly sacrificing yourself changes your nervous system. You start becoming hyper aware of everybody else's emotions while completely neglecting your own. You start walking on eggshells, overthinking your tone, overthinking your needs, overthinking whether expressing yourself will make people withdraw from you emotionally. And eventually, you stop feeling like yourself. Now listen to me carefully. Some of you became emotionally exhausted trying to maintain relationships that only work when you ignored your own needs. Let that hit. Because relationships should not require self-neglect. Friendships should not require emotional shrinking. Love should not require emotional survival. And I think some people needed somebody to finally explain why they've been feeling disconnected lately. You're not disconnected because you stopped caring. You're disconnected because your spirit is tired of one-sided emotional labor. Now that one hit deep. Because some of you were carrying entire relationships emotionally. You were the one checking in, the one understanding, the one forgiving, the one keeping the peace, the one overthinking how to keep everybody comfortable. And the painful part, the moment you stop doing all of that, certain people stop putting in effort altogether. That realization changes you permanently because now you understand. Some connections only survive through your emotional overextension. Not mutual effort, not mutual care. Your effort, your patience, your emotional labor. And once you stop carrying the relationship alone, everything starts revealing itself naturally. Now people seem distant. Now communication feels inconsistent. Now energy feels strange. But listen carefully. The connection did not suddenly change. You just stopped being the only person holding it together. That's the hard truth. Now breathe with me. Inhale and exhale. Because this next part is going to reach the people who have been feeling emotionally lonely around others. There's a specific kind of heartbreak that comes from realizing you felt more emotionally considerate towards people than they ever felt towards you. And once you realize that, you stop feeling emotionally safe. Now you hesitate before opening up. Now you question whether people genuinely care. Now vulnerability feels dangerous because your spirit remembers how exhausting it felt to constantly pour into people who only appreciated you when you are useful to them emotionally. And some of you are still healing from that, still healing from being the strong one, still healing from always being emotionally available, still healing from constantly being there for people who disappeared when you needed the same energy back. That's the quiet pain nobody talks about. Being the emotionally dependable person can become emotionally isolating because everybody leans on you while nobody notices you're getting tired too. And eventually, something inside you changes. You stop overgiving. You stop forcing connections. You stop chasing understanding from emotionally unavailable people. And yes, that shift will make certain people uncomfortable because some people benefited from your lack of boundaries. But hear me clearly tonight. Hear me clearly. The people meant for your life will not punish you for healing. They will not become distant because you started respecting yourself. They will not withdraw emotionally because you stopped carrying the relationship alone. Real love adjusts. Real friendship reciprocates. Real connection feels safe. Not draining. Not confusing. Not emotionally one-sided. And if this message is finding you deeply tonight, it's because your spirit already knows where your exhaustion has been coming from. You've been trying to maintain connections that no longer feels emotionally mutual, and your soul is tired. Now take one last breath with me. Inhale and exhale. And just sit with this truth tonight. The right people will never require you to abandon yourself just to keep the relationship alive. And the moment you stop emotionally carrying everybody else, you finally start hearing yourself again. Thank you for tuning in to The Quiet Storm. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Also, leave me a comment down below and share this to somebody who needs to hear it. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.